Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com.
And on the line with us today, we have Cynthia Chase. We're going to be discussing her amazing book, From Stressed to Blessed, 5 Simple Steps to Learn Meditation and Change Your Life. Now, it's available for purchase through Amazon.com, pretty much any online book reseller. But people, if you want to gather everything that Cynthia has in store, do yourself a favor and head directly to her personal site. And that's CynthiaDChase.com. There you'll find more information on Cynthia herself, more information on this fantastic book, as well as find the hyperlink set up to take you to the purchasing page. So one more time, that's CynthiaDChase.com. And before we go any further, I do want to take this opportunity and point out that Cynthia was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by one of the best advertising firms in the business. And you already know, I'm talking about ReadersMagnet. So listen to me. If you're a writer out there, you have a book that you've written, and now you find yourself at a precarious position, right? Because, well, now you need help moving the book you just wrote. Well, I'm going to give you some fantastic advice. You got to contact ReadersMagnet. They're one of the best in the business to do it, and frankly, people, this is exactly what they specialize in. So head on over to ReadersMagnet.com today and gather all of the ways that they're going to help maximize your creative endeavors. And listen, it is a true pleasure, okay, an absolute delight to have Cynthia here on the line. Now, right there in the title, people, there's no beating around the bush, okay? You understand the conversation that it's about to ensue, and I'm here for it, okay? Because first and foremost, who amongst us listening in right now is stress-free? I mean, if you are, my goodness, you are truly blessed. That's incredible. With all of the things that we have going on in society nowadays, the division, the pressures financially, I mean, listen, there's a lot to go around. So a book of this magnitude is exactly what you need. I know it's what I need. This is something you're going to want to add to your shelf. Now, right there in the subtitle, 5 Simple Steps to Learn Meditation and Change Your Life. It's going to give you a quick snapshot into what you're going to be experiencing, but I promise you, a snapshot is all you're getting, because this book is layered. Okay, there is so many nuances to it, but you can clearly see that this is a step-by-step guide to utilizing meditation to better your lives. Now, meditation has been around for thousands of years. Well, if it's been in practice for that long, there must be something to it, right? I mean, it must be useful if so many people, so many religions occupy this ancient method. Listen, Cynthia is the expert, okay? This is what her book is about. She's done the research, and she's going to be able to articulate everything much better than I ever could. Do me a favor. Sit back, strap in, and have your notebooks ready, because you're about to receive a fantastic education, and you're going to want to add this to your shelf. And understand, we're only going to scratch the surface here today, but by the time we've concluded, you're going to run to Amazon, CynthiaDChase.com, and purchase copies for yourself, because you're going to understand how valuable of a resource this book truly is. And at the end of the day, don't take my word for it. Take Cynthia's. Cynthia, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today?
Oh, I am doing well. Thank you so much for asking. And I would just like to say I am honored to be here today. I'm wordless, and I was laughing as you were doing some of your talking about the book. I appreciate what you have to say about it, and I believe it's true. It is through meditation that we can change our lives. Other ways too, but this one stays with you.
Listen, we are here for it, Cynthia, and thank you very much for your kind words. I promise you, the pleasure is all ours, okay? And you laid down a wonderful roadmap for me to follow. which made it very easy for me to speak the words that I spoke. So thank you for writing the book. And thank you even more for being a guest here with us to discuss it, because it is a true gift for myself as well as our listening audience. Now, before we go into the words on those pages, Cynthia, let's start by learning a little bit more about your background. Please tell us more about yourself.
Oh, I'm happy to do that. I was born and raised in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina, the Blue Ridge Mountains, also known as the Appalachian Mountains. And in the springtime, the trees there on the mountainside are covered with pink and white dogwoods. And in the fall, they're covered with red and orange and yellow leaves. And just a wonderful artist's rendition of the beauty of nature and God's work. From there, I went on to school at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill and received a diploma in political science. I had planned to go to law school. Moved on to Northern California from North Carolina after graduation. And from there, I got my master's in counseling psychology and depth psychology in Santa Barbara from Pacifica Graduate Institute. And I have a certificate for teaching education, a certificate in clinical and medical hypnotherapy, which is not what most people think. And if I should talk about that for a minute, I think it will clear a lot of people's ideas about what hypnotherapy really is.
You know, Cynthia, I wasn't planning on initially going here, but after that response, I can't see myself going anywhere else. We got to talk about inspiration here for a second, because you, as you stated, you initially were thinking about going into law, switched gears, went into hypnotherapy, and now writing. I mean, you got to connect the dots. What inspired you to do all of this, and really what inspired you to write this fantastic book?
Twofold for it. I was under a lot of stress at a point in my life. I was going through a divorce. I had 4 young kids. When I was going to grad school, it was geared towards midlife career change adults, Pacifica Graduate Institute in Santa Barbara. And I was speaking with a friend one day who suggested I try out meditation. And I sought somebody out once I returned home. And once I experienced that was for me after 1 or 2 times of going to class. And it helped me to see the world from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I would like to say it's a real way to see the world as opposed to what was in my mind or my ego. It helped me work through the challenges that I had in life. Once COVID came around, I knew that this book could help many people because the stress that was related to this issue was worldwide. We're still experiencing it. And if people could learn to meditate, it will change their lives. That was my goal, was to help people through difficult times.
And listen, that goal is being accomplished with each particular reader that picks this up. Because people, listen, this book not only is informative, not only is coming from a knowledgeable place in terms of her background, but also it started, as she stated, this started as a practice for herself. So this is something that she's not just preaching it, she's practiced it herself. Okay, there is so much here to take and, take to the bank, okay? Because the education is second to none. I'm telling you, Amazon is where you gotta go. CynthiaDChase.com. Check it out. Pick up your copies today because this is something you need to have. As I mentioned when we first began, meditation is something that has been around and practiced for thousands of years. So there's something to it, right? There's something to being able to just be in the moment and shut off all of the distractions. And in this digital age that we're currently living in, when we're all attached to our devices, as she mentioned, COVID, there's so much pressures that day-to-day life already dumps on us. If we can just stop and sift through all of the noise and shut it out, how much better our perspective, our perception can be. I'm telling you, this is something special here. Cynthia, my next question, and listen, we don't want to go into too much detail. People, you know, I mentioned it, Amazon, CynthiaDChase.com. You got to purchase your copies, okay? There's no getting around it. But since we have you here on the line, Cynthia, right there in your subtitle, you talk about 5 simple steps. Well, we don't want to go into all 5 of them, but could you offer maybe 1 or 2 steps to any beginners out there, somebody that is curious about meditation but doesn't really know even where to begin? Talk to us a little bit more about some helpful tips.
The first suggestion would be to find a place where it is quiet, in your home or out in nature, so that you can have a wonderful result of your first time and then on. So for instance, if you have a room in your home where things are fairly quiet, make sure that there are no noises such as the children running around or a dog in there with you licking or snoring. Just try to make it a place where you can have quiet. Tell your kids you're going to meditate. And I learned, I just had to mention it to them, and the house got quiet for a few minutes, and it was great. So that would be the first. Feel comfortable. Be where you feel comfortable. And I personally sit in a chair. A lot of people sit on the floor cross-legged or on a pillow. Some people lay down, and that's okay as long as you don't fall asleep every time that you go to do that. But I just sit in a chair, and I hold my hands together with my thumbs touching. My right hand holding the back of my left hand. All of this, of course, are steps in the book itself. And what's important is that you feel comfortable with what you're doing. And that would just be the beginning. I always start off with breath. Breath is so important to help us to be calm, to settle our energy, and know that you're breathing breath of God is doing this for you. Whatever the reason is that you sought out meditation, some people do it because they want to expand their spiritual awareness. Some people do it because they're ill, or they have somebody who's dying, school problems, divorce, so many different ones. So it just needs to be comfortable for you and where you find a place and how you do it. I just suggest that you try to keep it the same. And, if you travel for a business, that's okay. You can always practice meditation anywhere. But the important thing is to practice it every day, whether it's for breathing for 5 minutes and then 20 minutes of silence, or 15, even 10 is good. Just keep it in your life, and you'll be blessed by changes that appear.
Yeah. Cynthia, curiosity for myself here with this next one, but what would you say was a highlight for you, or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you throughout this journey? Now, it could be the journey of writing this book and getting it published, or the journey of practicing meditation yourself. What was something that surprised you that you weren't anticipating before you began?
Oh my goodness, that is a question that has a lot I could say. I will narrow it down to, it gave me a sense of expansion of awareness. And that is where your consciousness is, as Eckhart Tolle would teach. His wonderful teachings if you're interested in his work. So as you breathe calm and you can meditate, you will have coming to your mind. It's only normal, but I do give ways to work with that. And eventually there are less and less. You begin to have moments of no thought. It's open to whatever it is that comes through. It increases your intuition. You have answers. I consider prayer to be the time I have intentional thought in speaking with the divine or source or whatever it is you know that to be. And meditation is the time when I receive messages myself. And sometimes it's just as though I sit down and I meditate and I've had a great night's sleep. So that's how it has affected me in my life. It's just that greater spaciousness, more of a sense of awareness, higher tuition, and just a real calming in life.
People, listen, if you're like me, you're sold. Okay? You're at the edge of your seat. You're listening to every word with so much intent because you understand the impact that this book and the practice of meditation can have on your day-to-day lives. But listen, there's something even more here, okay? This book was the anchor. This was the one that we really wanted to focus on. But that's not all, okay? Cynthia has another book. Now, it's still in creation. It's not available for purchase just yet. But there's a second book that she is in the process of writing that is also very informative. Heavy subject matter, but it is something that needs to be discussed, okay? So her second book is dealing with the unfortunate circumstances of miscarriage. Now, miscarriage and how it affects a woman, but also how it affects men. Now, this is something that I say needs to be discussed because it is something that so many people, unfortunately so, deal with. That book is also going to be magnificent, and you already know, Amazon, CynthiaDChase.com. Those are the places you're going to have to go and pick it up. But, Cynthia, we have a few minutes here, and before we close out, I do think it would be magnificent to go into that other book because I think it offers so much assistance. Talk to us about the upcoming project and what to expect when we pick it up.
Okay, thank you for that. I experienced a miscarriage myself after 3 successful pregnancies. And thank you. I had didn't understand why it happened. I didn't know how to deal with it. They had no information for me at my doctor's office, and nothing was out there. There were no groups. So I got the information that was necessary and wrote it down for people, women and men too, but for women to be able to look onto this page and know there is help. And I took it into my doctor's office and handed it to them and said, please, the next time somebody comes in with a miscarriage, share this with them. And that's why I wanted to write the book too. Since COVID, 75% of pregnancies have ended in miscarriage. And there's so much thought and so many questions. And feel that sorrow, men feel that sorrow. And the interviews that I have with people can help you to recognize how it's affected you in your life. Even if it was 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, I have people telling me that working through it really brought resolution to that experience. And we work together to find a way that you can lay to rest that, whether it's artwork, it's dancing, or letters, or poems. It's your choice. Planting a garden. But more is in the book to help us to have resolution with that silent sorrow of miscarriage.
You know, key phrases that you said. First and foremost, that last one, silent sorrow. How many of us that have had these circumstances happen to us suffer in silence? People, in although it's completely understandable, you don't have to. There are resources out there, and I get it. In the moment, it's probably too difficult to try to face it head on. But you don't want to bury it. There is a lot of benefit through working through it. Like with every issue that you have, right, you never want to just sweep it under the rug. And this is catastrophic. I mean, that is the loss of a potential child. The burden that you feel can almost be insurmountable, or at least feel that way in the moment. I'm telling you, people, both of these books, although they are completely different in their subject matter, in their content, I'm recognizing a through line here in terms of the education that each possesses and how wonderful of resources they are. Amazon, CynthiaDChase.com, From Stressed to Blessed, 5 Simple Steps to Learn Meditation and Change Your Life. This is exactly what this book can do. It's going to change your life. It's going to help you move mountains. Fantastic resource to add to your shelf, an even better gift to add to someone else's. Head on over there today and pick up your copies. Cynthia, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Oh, thank you for so much, Mr. Cole, because I love to share the goodness of meditation with people everywhere.